All right, welcome back to the GolfN podcast. I'm Brandon here with our very special guest, CCI, fresh off a 9-day trip to Ireland and Northern Ireland. CCI, we've been following along the Discord on socials. You've been posting rounds in the app. It's been like a day since you've been home. How you feeling right now?
I mean, I want to do it again, to be honest with you. Like, I got back and I just want to go play more golf because it was just unbelievable. And like, the weather's been so good. Everyone that we met was so friendly. And I actually managed to play some good golf, shockingly. So it's just been
That
great.
helps. Yeah, when you have 7 rounds, there's usually at least a couple chances to shoot pretty well. Had you ever played golf in Ireland before or played links golf in general?
I played links golf in Scotland, not in Ireland. Because like me and my buddies, we've had 2 trips to Scotland, up to Craigielaw and that sort of area. And we played around there, but never to Ireland. So It was
Awesome.
great experience.
Let's talk about the entering the sweepstakes. The sweepstakes closes. You entered, and tell me your feelings when you found out that you won the golf trip of a lifetime to Ireland.
So when I was entering, it obviously displayed the percentage of chance that you had when you were choosing how many entries to go with. And I was like, this trip just looks like unbelievable. I'm just going to spend every single point that I've got and give it the best chance that I can. So I think it said I had something like 37%. So not a great chance, but still like roughly 1 in 3. I was like, right, come on, let's get lucky. And then when I got the result, I just texted my mate straight away who I play golf with. No way, it's actually happened.
Wow. Yeah, lucky friend being able to tag along with you. Yeah, so let's talk about the itinerary. And this is a professionally planned and managed golf trip. So we weren't just throwing you on in a rental car and saying go. We had Golf Traveler setting everything up. So what was it like being part of a planned golf tour with everything taken care of?
It took a lot of the stress away. Just the fact that I could look in the app, that Golf Traveler app, and it had like the itinerary and the times listed out. And the driver that we had, a guy called Jerd, he was just like always willing to say if we wanted to be there half an hour early to have extra time for a practice, or if we wanted to be there later on and have a drink after the round, he was like completely fine with that. So that was just brilliant. And it just meant that we didn't really have to worry about anything.
Yeah, it's great to have those local characters and the local knowledge. That's outstanding. So let's walk through some of the highlights here. You land in really the first round is at Royal County Down, right? I mean, you're no warm up. You're playing one of the
in at the
hardest golf
deep
courses
end.
in the world.
Yeah, that's what I was literally like, oh my God. So me and my friend, we said, right, we want to get there early. We saw online they had really good practice, like ground. So we got there early, went and checked out the pro shop. Obviously, we had to buy some stuff. You can't go to these sort of courses and not spend money because you're not going to get there again. So bought like some pitch repair tools, things like that. And then we got in a buggy that took us down to the range. And that was like make or break. I was literally like, if I start scoring it here, I'm just going to be devoid of any sort of confidence. Luckily, it wasn't a pretty swing, but the swing was working. So got there, stepped up onto the first tee. And that was the most nervous I think I've ever been over a golf ball. Because it's the first time ever playing with caddies watching you as well. So there's 2 of the random people we don't know, 4 caddies, and I was the last to hit. Everyone else had hit a fairly decent one. And all I had in my head was just make contact with the ball and go forward. And I was literally like stood up to it and actually hit a decent drive, like probably 240 up the middle, which is pretty good for me. And then after I hit, my caddy just came up to me and goes, not seen many people shake like that for years. And I was like, brilliant. I was physically shaking. But then after that, we were away and it was just brilliant because I could just like calm down and be like, okay, and now we're just golfing.
Yeah, I know the feeling. And especially like a lot of these caddies, sometimes they'll like bet against each other. So like they'll be invested in you. I don't know if that happened on this trip with you, but they'll put a little side bet down on their players. So they're into it.
Yeah, they might have been doing that. They didn't mention it, but the caddy was pretty happy. I mean, I actually think I had my best ever front 9, so I only went 3 over, which at a hard course is just, for me, a 15 handicap is pretty crazy.
Yeah, for Royal County Down, one of the most kind of infamous courses in the world, like crazy dunes, crazy rough, wild bunkers. You were posting some pictures. It looks like you caught a few gnarly bunkers over the course of a week in Ireland, which is going to happen to just about everybody, huh? There
was some of the bunkers that were like wasteland bunkers I'd never encountered before, and that was just like, these are just so huge. I'll be happy to get it out of here.
Yeah, it's go sideways, go backwards, do what you need to do.
What's up guys, CCI here. Just finished our first round of golf at Royal County Down. My friend behind the camera actually scored well and had a great time. We had an absolute don of a caddy who gave much good advice, and I managed to hold some decent putts, so pretty buzzing to be honest.
But so over in Northwest Ireland, there's a lot of kind of lesser known golf courses. And I want to pull up your ranking here. You wrote a little ranking of the 7 courses that you played.
Yep.
Royal County Down and Royal Portrush, that's really the kind of famous 1-2 punch. Some people say that that might be the best 1-2 punch in golf anywhere. Looking at your rankings here, though, it tells a different story. As someone who you're about what, a 15-ish handicap or so? I mean,
Yeah, 15 handicap.
So you're looking at St. Patrick's #1.
So the night before we played there, we watched. So like our nightly routine was watch a video of the course we're going to play the next day. Like me and my friend were just like, that's a great way to get hyped. And we watched one of that and we're just like, this looks unbelievable. Then when we went to it, it was just like all of the fairways were like, so they were wider, but they were lusher, and the greens were Tom Doak greens. So some of them had like 3 tiers to them, which was just such a challenge to play on. But I've always seen them on TV and wanted that experience. And that was also the course that had the wasteland bunkers on, which was nice. And it was just different to the other ones. It stood out a bit because it seemed, I don't know, the other ones, like you could almost blend a few of the holes from one course to another. And on that one, it seemed like it had its complete own identity, maybe because it's the most recent one. But it was also cool when the caddy that we were playing with told us they hadn't had to move or make any of the dunes that were naturally there already. They just built the course around the dunes as opposed to like forcing it.
Yeah. That's great. It's if you're going to be a modern golf course in Ireland when there's already so many great ones, it better be amazing. It looks like Btuck knocked it out of the park, and you're even making some notes to the community, like the Rosa Penna package. Like you're shilling that pretty hard, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, so me and my friend afterwards were messaging the other 2 guys we normally go away with on our golf trips to Scotland, and we were like, you know what, next golf trip we should just come and do this Rosa Penna 3 rounds for like 550 quid thing. Because the courses are just out of this world. And it's just every single one, because we played 2 of them. We played Sandy Hills at Rosa Penna and we played St. Patrick's. And they were both so different, which is pretty cool. And then there's also, I think, it might be Old Tom. That might be wrong, but I think it's called Old Tom, which we didn't get to play. But that's meant to be decent as well. You could just come and play them. And especially depending on the way that the wind's blowing, it'll play completely different. Because when we played like St. Pat, there were 2 of the par 5s that were downwind. You could get there in 2. Then you had a par 4. You hit driver 3 when you were still short of the green into the wind. And it was like, on a different day, it played completely different.
Yep. It's let's talk about Portrush, because you actually ranked that your #7 course. So Portrush is obviously hosting the Open in a couple months' time. They're getting everything ready for it. Tell us about the experience at Portrush, really on the final day that they were letting people play it before they closed for the Open this year.
I mean, I think Portrush probably has the best like clubhouse and that setup. Because you go in, it's almost like a museum. You have to sign to get into the clubhouse. Go upstairs, you can see all these photos of Lowry, Corroy, like all sorts of legends of the game, and just be like, this is unbelievable. And then their practice area had like a really good putting green compared to the other ones, like it had some decent undulations. And then once you stepped up to that first tee, you can feel the nerves because the bar looks over it. So you could see people were watching you. And we'd been paired with this one guy who like, he seemed to think he was, well, he's an amazing golfer, one of the guys who we're paired with. So he was playing off the back tees, but he like talked himself out of a shot. He was basically like saying to his caddy before, oh, so the only place you don't want to miss here is right. That's where McIlroy went out of bounds. So what did he do with his first tee shot? Sent it way right out of bounds, which was actually, yeah, many such cases. I mean, it was actually quite nice because that then took the pressure off the rest of the group. But like just as we were going round, seeing the setup of the grandstands and the signage, and even talking to the caddies because they get weak access to come to the course to watch it, was just like, it was entertaining to hear what they're going to do. Because it was one of the young caddies, he was only 17, dead nice guy. And he was just saying like, he was just excited to come and do it. It turns out he's an unbelievable golfer as well. He shot even par around Portrush, 17, pretty decent.
A lot of good players in Portrush.
Yeah.
A lot of good golfers in Portrush when you got Royal Portrush right at your backyard to play. Yeah, that'll happen. I know they do that at St. Andrews. Remember, I played Pebble about a month or so before the U.S. Open, and yeah, it's just there's a lot going on, a lot of construction. The rough is crazy. In some ways, it's actually longer because they grow it out and then kind of cut it back. So you're like losing balls in the rough before these majors. And
there were a few times when we went offline. I was like, "We'll find that." No, we're not going to find it. Like helping people, and they were like, "No." The caddies were like, "I'm sure it's here, but we're just not going to find it. It's too tufty."
Yeah. So where does this stack up amongst all your golf experiences? I got to ask you. This was billed as the golf trip of a lifetime. What?
I mean, it's clearly going to be the best ever because just all these all of these courses have been on my like bucket list. Ironically, the one I was looking forward to the most was Ardglass, just because I've seen so many videos about YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube golf, and every single hole at Ardglass could almost be a signature hole because the views on all of them are just unbelievable. So just to get to play that one alone would be like just crazy good. Then to have it 7 days in a row, and then also to have like the hotel experience, which was just every morning waking up, having good grub, and then heading straight out to golf and not having to worry about commuting. It was just perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. So any tips for people who are, thinking about taking a golf trip over there, whether it's to Northern Ireland or taking a tour operator? What would you tell someone who's thinking about making the jump?
I'd definitely recommend Golf Traveler, to be honest with you, because there was another couple that we were paired with for the first 2 days, which we actually didn't realize until the end of the first day when we were like, oh, where are you playing tomorrow? And then they were like, oh, we're playing the same place as you. What time? Same time. They booked through Golf Traveler as well, and they like completely loved it, and they'd raved about it, and they'd said they'd done a 12-day trip with them in the past, and basically they have no problem with them. They just say it takes everything off. So definitely recommend that. And then I'd just say all of the courses are going to be good. I don't think you even have to like pick and choose that much because they're all just incredible. Even the ones that we didn't play that were nearby, like when we played Ballyliffin, there was a second Ballyliffin course that looked great as well. And there's just so many others that you could go to and just keep on experiencing.
The weather too for you really seemed it couldn't have gone better. I see in your notes here you had a windy day at Port Stewart, but Ireland, you never know. But it looks like you guys had some luck on your side.
Yeah, in the like 2 months leading up to it, we were checking the weather forecast and refreshing, and it looked like it was going to be a few days. It'd be like overcast and maybe a bit rainy, and we didn't get a single bit of rain the whole time. A few of the caddies were like, what have you done to get this luck? Because A, you've won this prize, and then we've never seen a full week without rain for our whole caddying career. So it's nice to have that look on your side twice. And it was actually good to experience a few of the courses in the tough wind, because like just having to hit like a 5-wood that normally would go like 220, and it was going like 160 into the wind. And it was like, okay, this really is adjusting my shots.
Yeah, that's the full Irish experience there.
100%.
Well, it sounds like the trip couldn't have gone a whole lot better. It was great kind of following you along on the app, posting the scorecards. You've been an early supporter of GolfN. Tell me your impression so far of what we're building and the fact that we're offering experiences like this.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to the app coming out fully, like out of alpha and coming into the full for Android as well, because I've got so many friends that I play with regularly that I've been telling them about it for like months and months, from when I first got back seriously into golf from like October. And I've been saying to them, look, there's this other app that's coming out that's a rival to the Grin, 18 Birdies, everything. And they were like, okay, let me know when it's out and we'll get it, try it out. So now that they've seen that I've managed to get this experience as well, they're even more in on it, because they're like, okay, so the reward system will work. And I'm like, yep. So just can't wait for it to come out, and then go get used to play more golf every day of the week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You get the more golf you play, the more chances you have to win things like the golf adventure of a lifetime to Ireland. So very cool. Thanks for catching up with us. Thanks for supporting GolfN. And I guess we're going to have to see what the next sweeps is. We've got a bunch lined up, a lot of cool experiences like Ireland. Save your points.
Yeah, I'm already thinking, right, I've built up 60,000. I can enter them into the next one. You can get lucky 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything left for the 2025 golf season you're looking forward to?
I mean, the Masters is always the one, but just seeing Portrush when they're all playing at the course that I played at, I really want to see someone go in the bunker on one that I went in, because I didn't realize that bunker was there, and it's a pretty hard bunker to get out of. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch these events once you've played the course. It's just so much more vivid, and you get to have a laugh when they're struggling. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Glad you're back, and we'll stay tuned to GolfN for the next sweepstakes, and we'll see who wins that one. So thanks again.
Great. Thanks very much.
All right. Yeah.